Have you ever met someone for just a few seconds and instantly decided whether you liked them, trusted them, or wanted to avoid them? The strange part is that most of us believe we're being rational, carefully judging people over time. But the truth is far more unsettling. Within moments of meeting someone, your brain has already written a story about who they are. That invisible story silently influences every conversation, every opportunity, and every relationship that follows. Even more surprising, once that first impression is created, changing it becomes incredibly difficult. So why does something that happens in just a few seconds have such extraordinary power over our lives? Today, we're exploring the hidden psychology behind first impressions and why they often determine everything before a single, meaningful word is even spoken. The human brain is built for speed, not perfection. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors didn't have the luxury of carefully analyzing every stranger they encountered. A delayed decision could mean the difference between survival and death. As a result, the brain evolved to make incredibly fast judgments using very limited information. Facial expressions, posture, movement, clothing, tone of voice, and even the way someone walks all become clues that your brain instantly combines into a conclusion. This process happens automatically, long before logic has a chance to intervene. In many ways, your first impression isn't a conscious decision at all. It's an ancient survival mechanism operating beneath your awareness. One of the most fascinating psychological effects involved in first impressions is known as the halo effect. Imagine meeting someone who appears confident, smiles warmly, and speaks clearly. Without realizing it, your brain often assumes they must also be intelligent, trustworthy, competent, and kind. None of these conclusions are based on evidence, yet they feel completely real. A single positive characteristic spreads like light across every other aspect of that person's identity. The opposite is equally true. If someone appears nervous, tired, or awkward during the first meeting, your mind may unconsciously attach negative qualities to them that have absolutely no connection to reality. This explains why first impressions can be incredibly unfair. People are rarely seen as they truly are. Instead, they're viewed through the filter of that initial mental snapshot. Once your brain creates a category for someone, confirmation bias quietly takes over. From that point forward, your mind begins searching for evidence that supports the original judgment, while ignoring information that contradicts it. If you believe someone is confident, you'll notice every confident action they take. If you think they're unreliable, every small mistake will seem like proof that you were right all along. In other words, first impressions don't simply influence your opinion. They actively shape the evidence you notice afterward. This psychological shortcut affects far more than personal relationships. Job interviews, business meetings, friendships, dating, and even legal decisions can all be influenced by the first few seconds of interaction. Research has repeatedly shown that people who make strong first impressions are often perceived as more capable, even when their actual performance is no different from others. Confidence frequently outweighs competence in the early stages of judgment because confidence is visible, while true ability requires time to discover. This creates an uncomfortable reality. People aren't always rewarded for who they are, but often for how quickly they create a convincing impression. Social media has amplified this phenomenon more than ever before. Today, your profile picture, your bio, your first post, or even the first 5 seconds of a video can determine whether someone continues watching or scrolls away forever. Modern attention spans are shorter than ever, forcing people to make lightning-fast decisions based on almost no information. Algorithms themselves reward content that immediately captures attention, reinforcing our natural tendency to judge instantly. In many ways, technology hasn't changed human psychology. It has simply accelerated it. But there's another side to this story. First impressions don't only affect how others see you, they also influence how you see yourself. Imagine walking into a room believing everyone expects you to fail. Your body becomes tense. Your voice becomes uncertain. Your behavior changes, making the negative outcome more likely. Psychologists call this a self-fulfilling prophecy. Expectations shape behavior, and behavior often creates the very reality we feared or hoped for. The impression you believe others have of you can quietly become part of your own identity. Interestingly, first impressions are often surprisingly inaccurate. Our brains rely on stereotypes, previous experiences, cultural assumptions, and unconscious biases that don't necessarily reflect reality. Someone who seems quiet may simply be exhausted. A person who appears arrogant might actually be dealing with anxiety. Someone who avoids eye contact may come from a culture where direct eye contact is considered disrespectful. Yet our minds instinctively transform these incomplete observations into complete stories. We confuse confidence with honesty, attractiveness with intelligence, and familiarity with trustworthiness. These mental shortcuts save time, but they also create countless misunderstandings. Fortunately, awareness gives us power. While we can't completely stop making first impressions, we can learn to question them. Instead of assuming your initial judgment is accurate, you can become curious. Ask yourself what evidence actually supports your conclusion. Could there be another explanation? Have you given this person enough time to reveal who they truly are? Slowing down your thinking interrupts the brain's automatic patterns and creates space for more accurate understanding. The people who become excellent leaders, negotiators, and communicators often possess this exact skill. They recognize that the first story their brain creates is only a hypothesis, not the final truth. Likewise, understanding the psychology of first impressions allows you to become more intentional about the image you project. This doesn't mean pretending to be someone else. Authenticity remains far more sustainable than performance. Instead, it means recognizing that small details matter. A genuine smile, attentive listening, calm body language, eye contact, and confidence rooted in self-awareness all communicate powerful signals before your words even begin. These signals don't define your character, but they influence whether people are willing to discover it. Perhaps the greatest lesson is this: every person you meet is carrying two versions of themselves. One is the complex reality built from years of experiences, struggles, dreams, and emotions. The other is the simplified version your brain creates within seconds. The first is real. The second is convenient. Most of the conflicts, misunderstandings, and missed opportunities in life happen because we mistake convenience for truth. The next time you meet someone new, remember that your first impression is not a final verdict. It is merely the opening sentence of a much longer story. And like every good story, the most important chapters are rarely the first ones. Sometimes the people who seem ordinary become unforgettable. Sometimes those who appear perfect reveal unexpected flaws. Real understanding always begins where first impressions end. The question is not whether your brain will make an instant judgment. It always will. The real question is whether you'll have the patience to look beyond it